If you enjoy this video, please hit like, subscribe, or share. It helps me grow my channel. Thank you. Hi, welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Central Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. It's mid-January, and everything's looking very sad. I will take you through all of the gardens to show you what's going on. Last year around this time, I came out and I cut back and cut down everything that had been frozen. We've only had a few nights in the mid 20s, but it was enough to fry several of my plants. But last year, as I said, this point, I came out and I cut a lot of this back. I think I ended up losing some things that were getting some protection from all of this dead plant matter. Also, I think that I destroyed the possibility of several of these plants that actually have some green growth down at the soil level. So this year, I'm not touching it. I'm not going to touch it for at least another 3, maybe 4 weeks. And realistically, that's the extent of Texas summer here. Rose of Sharon, that will get trimmed back about mid-February. I think at that point, mid-February is kind of my goal for taking a lot of this other stuff back. And I'm going to give you a little bit of close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. I think some of the plants that are down lower are being protected by all of this dead, what's left of several of the plants. Now, there are a few that still are blooming pretty little flowers. Again, I think it's because it's being protected by everything. So we're going to stay the course on this one. We do have a few very pretty moments. Ah, look, we have a butterfly there. A few pretty moments of color. The African daisies are doing really well. And surprisingly, my verbena is doing very well. And again, I'm bringing you in for a close. I absolutely am going to have some weeding to do, but you can see some of the verbena is still alive. And actually, if you look down at the base, this dead angelonium has some green growth at the base, which I'm pretty impressed by. I was surprised my geranium has survived so far. It made it all the way through the summer, which with our triple-digit heats was remarkable in itself. It doesn't look fabulous, obviously. It's been affected by the cold, but nothing like my other plants. Also, the dianthus seems to really be loving life at these temperatures, which I absolutely love. And I'm not surprised at all. The cyclamen and the jumping jacks just seem to love Central Texas winters. They thrive. They're one of the few things that still give me just wonderful blooms of color throughout my garden. I have a few in some other pots too. They seem to do very well this time of year. I moved several plants into my greenhouse. This is just a very small greenhouse, but our temperatures didn't get low for very long, and the cold did not last for very long. So I'm hoping the majority of them will be good to plant out when the temperatures do warm up. And look at that! We have some nice blooms still going here. Wow. Okay. Well, these are begonia cuttings that I took. Not this one. That's an ivy. These are begonia cuttings that I took a few weeks ago, and they were just tiny little cuttings. And look at that. They seem to be loving life in here. That's wonderful. And I have a smaller kalanchoe here and some larger ones. Let's see how they're doing. They seem to be doing pretty well. There's a few down here. Let me move. These two are large. I had them actually on the stones in the greenhouse. And as you can see, the front, definitely affected by the cold. But look in the back. These were protected. They actually have buds and flowers that are starting. I lifted them up on this bench. Heat rises, so I'm hoping they like it a little bit better at this height. But I'm pleased. I'm happy. I wrote these off as being gone, so I'm generally happy with how these are doing at the moment. And these two Kalanchoe, this is a perfect example of the difference. This one was smaller, but I had it towards the very back of this little greenhouse. This one still healthy, but look at the difference. And this one was sitting closer towards the front. So clearly the back must be a better option for those. This is I call it my Mexican petunia fence, because the Mexican petunias were the first plants that I planted along here. And I've since obviously created the border, planted different kinds of flowers, but I still call it Mexican petunia fence. These I also cut back last year and they didn't come back. So I had to get new cuttings from my sister in Houston to start them again. Difference is she doesn't cut them back until mid-February, early March. So I'm going to follow her lead and see how that works. I think it, again, just like the front, it gives shelter to a lot of the plants down here lower, and I'm going to bring the camera in to show you. These are dahlias grown from seed, obviously gone. I dug up several of the dahlia bulbs from the front swoop and from the backyard that are currently in my refrigerator, and they will go out in a few weeks. These I'm leaving in place. I put compost, mulched up leaves, packed that around just to give it a little warmth. It's an experiment. Will they come up better this way, or will the ones that I dug up and planted back out again in the spring do better? We'll see. The mums down here, you can see there's new growth in the mums. How surprising is that? But again, I think the protection helps. And the petunias are still alive. They're kind of sad, but they are still alive. The plan for this, originally, this was all rose bushes going across. Rose bushes have since died, most of them. I still have two on the end. They seem to be limping along. I'm hoping some of the things I'm going to try in the spring will improve it. From there on down, I really was hoping for a food garden. I did have some really good herbs, basil, things that were doing really well. Tomatoes, 50-50. Green pepper plant. We got two really good green peppers. Beyond that, no. So this garden, I'm going to be turning the soil over. I'm going to be putting in compost. I am going to be treating it, and then I'm just going to let it sit until about the end of February. And I'm going to start again. And I'm going to try a few new things. Limped along, got a little, not as much as I'd like. I've got some blueberry and blackberry bushes down here. That is my third attempt at the third blueberry bush. They don't like this area. Again, I'm going to treat the soil a little bit differently. The blackberry bush is still alive. It actually is growing a few leaves, but no blackberries yet. So a lot of work needs to be done here. And this is my very sad back porch. That's just weeds. Pretty much gone, but that's okay. Gives us something new to work on in the spring. The mum is done for the season. I do plan on planting, I'm going to bring you in closer so you can see there's actually new growth at the bottom of this that I'm going to plant in my newest no-till garden in the corner. I think it will be much happier next year if it's in the ground there. And here's a little closer look, and another reason why this year I am not cutting things back, and I'm seeing some good results. If you look down inside, you'll see there's a whole bunch of new growth in there. And honestly, I think if all of this wasn't here, protecting it from the wind and some of the cold that we do have, I don't think I'd have that. But I'm very hopeful this is going to be gorgeous in that back corner garden. The right side of the pond, my ranunculus are still alive and they still look good. They're supposed to die back. These are the ones I planted earlier. From now on, I am not going to plant ranunculus. I'm not going to start them inside. they're going to go straight outside into my area. Some of the verbena still looks like it's hanging in there. Dianthus is doing pretty too. The rest, I don't know. This Ixora, it's going to be a 50-50 if this comes back. It does have some growth at soil level, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And I do need to water. And a few of the absolute winter stars have been these ornamental kale. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. I love the color. Very healthy and definitely loves Central Texas. Dianthus again. Or Sweet William? I think it's Dianthus. Anyway, these are fantastic. They're growing new. And I'm amazed. They not only are doing gorgeous now, they survived our triple-digit summer temps, which again was a shock. I thought this was going to be a winter annual and then be gone for the summer. These have been here since, well, I want to say a year and a half now. This is going to be a major project as soon as the water heats up enough for me to get in there. And I do have to get in there to get to what I need. There's a canvas bag inside with this water lily plant, which is obviously very well overgrown. It's really brutal how you're supposed to treat this. Taking the bag out, ripping, not cutting, ripping the leaves, twisting and ripping the roots, replanting it in sand, and then putting it back in. This is going to be, and again, clearing everything out is going to be a major, major project. Again, it's going to have to wait because even though the water only comes to a little above my knee and I'm a short person, it's flipping cold. So I'm going to wait, obviously, for the water to warm up a bit more before I do that project. And this is the left side of the pond, and we have the lantana, which is huge, and I will cut that back. Lantana, at least the orange and yellowish Central Texas variety of lantana, you can just raise that to the ground, and it's going to grow back every year. It's incredibly tough. Some of the other lantana I have, the purple, the white, the confetti, those seem to be a little more tender, and I did take cuttings this year. The holly obviously is doing well, and the ranunculus I planted out, they're growing. I mean, no buds yet. My sister's actually getting flowers, but none here yet. I wanted to just do a little update on the lantana cuttings that I did, and they are really doing very well. Now, that one in the center is Chrysandra, and the seeds are growing well there too. The ones surrounding are all the lantana. It's the white, it's the purple, it's the confetti, and I'm going to need to cut back these blooms because I want the plant's energy to focus on the roots. But all of these are going to be able to go back out in the spring, and I'm thrilled. I usually end up buying these every year. This pretty but clearly sad little area right now, I love. I love it. It's one of the first things you see when you come out into the yard. We did impatiens here last year, but they were very leggy almost a minute after I planted them. So I want to rethink this. Any ideas you have, please let me know. But I'm looking forward to coming up with some great ideas for this. Just a side note, the New Mexico hollyhocks, the ones that I got the green seed pods, they're growing. They're looking pretty. And so far they've survived the few 20-something degree, but they're from the mountains of New Mexico. So these plants actually live through ice and snow. So we'll see. And more ranunculus looking nice. Lots of weeds though. Everything here looks pretty seriously affected by the cold. So sad, but that's okay. I've got some ranunculus here. Rose of Sharon's will definitely come back. Black-eyed Susans, you can't kill those. They always come back. This is a Mexican sunflower, and I'll cut it down. These seem to volunteer all over my yard, and when they are blooming, they're so stunning. They're definite showstoppers. The Ixora back here, I don't know. He's looking pretty sad and frozen, but we'll see if he comes back. A lot of this in here, I'm not sure. Drift roses, they're still alive. They're not flowering, obviously, but they are definitely still alive. So I'm kind of hopeful. And right here is where I plan on planting that huge potted mum from the back porch. I think it'll be really pretty right here. The Rose of Sharons are going to grow tall. I think it'll do really well there. My jacaranda's looking really sad, but I think it's still alive. I'm pretty sure. I think it's still alive. So we'll see. This is the first year. Last year it was in a pot and I moved it to the garage during the winter. This year it was planted in the ground. So fingers crossed. I sure would love to see this grow big, tall, and gorgeous. And I'll post a photo of what these things look like when they're in full bloom. Really hoping I see that. Back here is the first no-till garden. It's huge back there. I did nothing with it this year other than create the no-till garden, put down tons of mulch. But I do have plans. I want to put some clerodendron back along the fence. I want to put the kalanchoe that I'm holding on to in the greenhouse back in here too. And then I want to do a lot of border flowers on this side, and when I take you around to the other side as well. So I've got really nice hopes. This is almost a complete full shade garden. It gets dappled light for just a few hours and that's it. And this was the last no-till garden I did. My plan for this, because it is on the side of the house, is I want this entire area to be cut flowers. I want vases filled with beautiful flowers. I have thrown so many seeds, and you can look at previous videos. I have planted a few of the starter ranunculus in here. I moved 2 of the rose bushes, actually 3 of the roses over into this area just to spread it out. I'm really hoping that this is the eye popper. Come out here every day and just cut fresh flowers. That's my hope. Not sure why, but nothing I planted right here survived. Nothing. I think I went through 4 different occasions of buying flowers and throwing seeds, and absolutely nothing would grow here. I don't know why. It does get some really harsh sun for about 4 hours. And again, triple temperature, Central Texas heat, 4 hours of direct sun's a lot. The rest of the time, it's like this. It's in the shade, a little bit of sun, not much. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. This is going to be another one of my challenge areas. This is my dining room window garden. Other than the ranunculus I planted in here, which really seem to be thriving. These are the only green. Everything else is gone. My goal last year, and it was the first year of this garden, we created this last year, is when you walk into my house, one of the first things you are looking at is this huge picture window. I want flowers to be growing up so that when you're walking through my house, you just see gorgeous garden. So a few things worked. I actually liked the confetti lantana, and it was the pale confetti. That was a pretty view. The ranunculus, if they grow, fantastic. Everything else, I've got ideas, and this is sort of a perfect location. Plants seem to like it here. So this is one of I'm excited to get to spring gardens. And last but not least is, well, I just call it my bench garden for obvious reasons. Thryallis seems to really love it here. I did tie it up a bit. It seemed to be spreading out and basically crushing a lot of the plants I had in here. Now you can see this from the dining room window, so I want this area to be eye-catching as well. But a few things are still alive. I just went blank. I'll put the name here. Are doing well. We've got a love plant over here. We have the hydrangea is actually still alive, which is a bit shocking. Some things, creeping Jenny is doing well. This seems a little bit more protected. And over here is the other side of that open no-till large garden I told you about. So again, clerodendron in the back. I'm going to put kalanchoe in here. I want some lower flowering, really colorful flowers on the border. So lots of plans to follow through with. There's a lot of work ahead. I have to write everything down and take everything in pieces because clearly it's going to be a lot of work, but also so much fun.